Yeah, everything is turned on. You are ready to roll.
Good morning, everyone. This is the South Kingstown Assessment Board of Review meeting, and today is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. First order of business is roll call. David Bott is here. The person to my right.
Ken Monroe is present.
The person to my left.
Brad Heavenor is present.
And the person to my left.
Alice Klezak, alternate.
Okay, we have three members with an alternate here. The first order of business is approval from minutes from February 18th. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as presented?
I read the minutes. They look acceptable. I would make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? I'll second. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. All right, we have a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor to approve the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Okay, now we have new business and we have old business. So the first item is going to be new business. And just a quick reminder, we have a policy here where we try to adhere to a 10-minute presentation by the appellant. So, and I have forgotten about that on occasion, but I would just like somebody over there to the right of me, Jen or somebody, to remind us when we get to 10 minutes. And, we're trying to give everybody a chance here, and, if it goes over a little bit of 10 minutes, that's fine, but I just want everybody to kind of know what the time element is here before we get going. Okay. New business. First item of business is appeal number 91, Roy, Louis and Joan.
They did leave us a message that they won't be able to attend today and are requesting to be moved to the next agenda or a future new business agenda, whether it be the 25th or not.
Okay, so we need a motion. So I'll make a motion that we move them to the next agenda, should we say the 25th?
We can.
All right, so I make a motion that we move that to the March 25th agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Next item is appeal number 92, DeSulio Family Trust, Camden Court. Is there somebody here representing the appellant? Okay. What is the board's pleasure? Do we want to talk about it, folks, or we just
did
want
they communicate with the assessor? Have you received any communications indicating their, availability for this meeting, or?
I have not, and usually when that happens, the merits are on the original appeal. I can reach out and ask if they want to be present, but for the most part, most people communicate whether they do intend to attend, whether they do intend to send representation, or whether they need a reschedule. I haven't heard anything from this appellant.
David, I would recommend that we push this to the decision phase or push it to the next agenda, either one, but to move on to allow the people that are here an opportunity for time's sake.
So you have is that a motion, Ken?
Sure, that's a motion.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Is the motion to move it to the decision phase, or is the motion to continue it to the next meeting? We need to know.
It was an either or, so maybe we can have a quick.
It's a choose your own adventure.
Quick discussion, but I mean,
I think that the way we've handled no-shows this season, we've given them another opportunity to come. That's been our practice. So I think maybe the fair thing would be to put it on the 25th. And see if they decide to come along.
Okay, Wendy, I would just ask you, how are we looking for numbers? I just want to make sure we can.
We have a draft agenda for the 25th already. We'll talk about that later, whether you want to have it all be new business, but that's the remainder, all of the new business for the season.
Okay, so realistically, you think we can accomplish if we push these back? To that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably going to have to do one more as a minimum, one cleanup old business without, when public comment is closed, decision, at least one full one.
Maybe at the end of the meeting, we can just look ahead and kind of decide what the landscape is for it, because I'm skeptical that we would be able to.
And it changes because already for this agenda, we've already had 3 appellants move, so it's a moving
we're stacking
entity.
them up. Yeah.
So do we want to make that move that to a date to be determined?
Yeah, I guess so. If we've set the precedent, I don't want to go against the precedent. So my motion would be is to push it to the next agenda.
I would second that motion.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is Appeal Number 98, Burzon, Jeffrey and Linda. Is anybody present here representing the appellant?
Yeah, you can come right up to the table, turn your mics on, and we will give you 10 minutes to let us know what information you'd like to share with us.
You need to turn the, you need to push the button on the right side, it'll light up, and so will the mic. And the other thing is, if both of them are on at once, you're gonna get some feedback, so you may wanna have one of them off.
Is this on? Yes.
Yeah, they're both on,
It
but you
is.
might be
There's a
getting some
red
feedback.
button.
So whoever's gonna be talking, whoever's not gonna be talking, I would highly recommend that you turn that mic off, because you'll get feedback.
Turn yours off. All right, mission accomplished.
Morning.
Good morning. Used to say, I've never been here before, I'm not sure what the protocol is. Do you guys talk, do I talk, where are we going?
I would, if you could, please state your name for the record, and I would, you know, it's up to the appellant to present their case however they want. If they want to summarize what they've already submitted, or just explain something that's not here or whatever, but, you know, it's basically, you know, just inform us a little bit more as to, you know, what your situation is.
Jeffrey Burzon.
Linda Arnold, 51 Osprey. And the reason today, that we wanted to be here today, is because our appeal, we talked about comparable properties as we were requested to do. We were asked about what the house was insured at, which we provided also. I feel very strongly that the comparables that we showed previously are in fact comparable. Our house is relatively new construction. All of those are in the exact same neighborhood, also relatively new construction, all built by comparable builders, one built by the exact same builder, and the assessments are not even close. I also looked at replacement values for those comparables, and even though the houses are similar size, sometimes much larger, the replacement cost is much lower on the other houses than ours. So for comparison purposes, I don't understand why we're looking at drastically different numbers. I've given a couple different charts, or not actually charts. I made a chart if you want one. I provided statistics previously, but not charts. The biggest difference is our house is listed as custom. Theirs is not. One of them was built by the exact same builder, as I said. 12 months ago, theirs was listed as custom. Apparently has been changed to ranch. Their house is twice as big as ours, and it's a ranch, but ours is custom. One of the other houses was apparently listed as custom 12 months ago, but is no longer, because their assessment went from, I will tell you.
If you could actually, we have some of the information in front of us. If you could just cite the addresses of these comparables that you're citing, it would help us follow along, I think.
Sure. The one that's the exact same builder is 20 Sycamore. 20 Sycamore. And the other one that I don't know if it's a custom because I didn't pay enough attention back then, but is 49 South Whedon. In '23, it was assessed at $927,800. Excuse me, that's the house. It was assessed at $1,296,000. It was originally assessed by you folks at $2,015.8. It's now back down to $1,162, which is what it is less than what it was in 2023. As I said, I looked at the assessed values. I looked at the replacement costs.
When you say replacement cost, what is that figure? Where's that coming from?
Your field card
Right, okay.
and the other Vision Government Solutions stuff.
Okay,
they're-
not our field. It's, this is the assessment board. We didn't do, these aren't our, you're calling them our assessments, it's not
Sorry,
our
my
assessments.
bad.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
okay. We just want to be clear that
Somebody's.
it's theirs, yeah,
Hers.
exactly, yeah.
Well, actually, it wasn't, well, she approved it, but she didn't do it either, obviously, but where was I going with that? I'm not sure exactly.
The assessed values.
Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, you were discussing
okay.
the
I
assessed
lost my
values
train-
and then
train
the
of thought.
replacement cost, replacement value.
And the replacement value I thought was valuable because the replacement value of the house, our house, is exactly equal to the improvement number that's on the assessment. See, the assessment shows improvements, land, grand total. Our improvement number is exactly equal to what the assessor says my replacement cost is. So I'm assuming that's how they come up with the number. And that might not be a good assumption, but since it's exactly the same to the dollar. The other ones are not. I'm not sure why theirs are not, but mine is. Ours is. But anyway, these houses are comparable size, and the chart that you don't have, because I didn't provide it to you, but I can, they're approximately similar square feet, and ours is about twice as much per square foot as all of theirs, which I don't understand why that would be the case. And I don't know whether the place number comes first or the assessment number comes first. I'm not sure how they build their numbers together, but it's obviously important, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So going back to the, is it fair or isn't it fair? I don't know, but I thought we were supposed to be comparable, and everybody in town is supposed to be treated equally, if you will. And that doesn't appear to be the case from my perspective. The assessor sent us 3 other comparatives, I think is the term they use, and they all say custom, but that's about what I think they have in common with ours. They're similar sizes, they're custom built within the last few years, but they're not anywhere in our neighborhood. And I don't know who their builders are. These other houses that I'm talking about, we actually lived on that same street since 2008. We've had a house there. We built this one in 2000, well, it was finished in 2020. But we know the neighborhood. We've watched the other houses being built. We know who built them. And we know that they're all custom builders, but apparently they have ranches and contemporary moderns, and we have custom. And as far as I can tell, that's what I've actually been told by the Vision Government Solutions people, is that the custom word is what's got us into trouble here. But that doesn't, again, appear to be applied consistently, so I'm not sure, again, where that designation comes from, but it appears to be very important, and it's not applied consistently. Other than that, I don't know that I have a whole lot extra to add, but I can certainly clarify, and like I said, I do have more statistics if they're relevant to you, but I'm at a loss to understand why our comparables are not considered relevant.
And the one, so just to clarify, I'm sorry. So the ones that you presented, we have your letter from October 8th that you sent in. So you have your property, there's a property on Blackberry Hill, Bass Road, South Whedon Road, Sycamore Lane. Those are, you chose those because they're kind of in your neighborhood and you're familiar with those homes and their construction, basically. Is that kind of your selection, was just what's in the
I would
neighborhood,
say
similar to
yes
ours?
that, but that was also my understanding that that's what I should be looking at if I want to look at comparables. I can't look at another neighborhood. I should be looking at the neighborhood that I'm in. So yes to what you just said, but
Yep, and
also because...
it's helpful. It is helpful to us.
And we watched them all get built, and they all did have custom signs, because we actually used that information to call some of those builders that were building other homes, and we decided on somebody different than the builders that we saw in the neighborhood. Even though those houses are beautiful, we went with a different builder. But there was a designation for custom building on all the houses that we've cited.
Did you see the February 26th note that I sent in? Okay, because that's the one where I talk about some of the other things and also the replacement costs, which again, I don't know where that number comes from, but they're drastically different.
It was the 80% jump.
Did you indicate that you had a chart that we don't have?
I do.
If we could have a copy of that, I think that would help us.
I didn't unfortunately make
Would
enough for
someone
that.
mind making a couple copies for us?
I have
Unless
I have
she-
4.
Oh. scratch that.
Yeah, she's prepared.
Thanks. Yeah, this is helpful as well. This is what I would have done.
Well,
is
it
good.
was, unfortunately, after I handed in the other one, I said, oh, it'll be easier for me to read this way, so if you want a few minutes to look at it, that's great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question for the assessor's office. Were any of the comps that she cited, that these folks have cited, have any of them been changed from custom to something else by us? Or were they all changed during the process?
So because it's a statistical revaluation, we handle things differently than a full revaluation. So unfortunately, part of our discovery process, when you provide comps, that's when we look at it. So when you provided the comp for 20 Sycamore Lane, most likely during a full reval, based on discovery, I don't believe that to be a ranch. It is the same builder, Carl Johnson. It's a custom.
we were
I
looking at it
inherited
here,
the step,
yeah.
right? So I think the definition was moldable in the past, and we're really sticking to the definition of custom moving forward. So like we discussed at the last meeting, we are writing two lines leading up to the full revaluation, but this was part of my discovery, but because if that makes any sense. So we can talk about all of them, but in particular 20 Sycamore, I can see why that would be a comp.
Yeah, me too.
Can I just ask you to clarify that a bit for my sake? You said full versus statistical. What did you mean by that?
So per Rhode Island state statute, every 9 years, every town must do a full revaluation. So part of a full revaluation is every single home is visited. New photos are taken. The revaluation company requests to go inside the house, and that's where we sort of fix mistakes, right? We have 15,000 parcels, a little shy of it, so obviously we couldn't possibly, a team of 4 in an office, handle a town like that otherwise. So we handle statistical revaluations per state statute, where only the houses that sold are looked at. So it's still mass appraisal, statistical revaluations in a full. They're just completely different in how our office handles the appeals. Every year you have an appeal. When your bill comes out, you can appeal. That never changes, but we have an influx after a revaluation, and the cycle is every 3 years. So every 3 years, it's a statistical. Another 3 years is a statistical, and then at 3 years out, or 9 years, it's a full repeat, statistical, full. Unfortunately, our last full revaluation for the town of South Kingstown was during COVID. We went on the trust system. Some towns didn't do a full. There was all sorts of things happening, but I wasn't the assessor at the time, and actually we had some turnover, so there was some, we can't go back in time. We can only fix and move things forward. So as a assessor coming in and inheriting, a book of values, our challenge is, what did they do? Does this make sense for this reval? We don't inherit. Every revaluation is a clean slate. Some people say, well, 10 years ago it was this, that it's irrelevant. Every town, every assessor, every reval can clean slate and look at the market, right? It's just like the stock market. It could crash or go up in a day. The bell rings at 5 and the market's over. The market for real estate is year end on 12/31 of any given year. So the revaluation for the statistical and what we're talking about are sales based in the calendar year of 2024. Yes. Woo. We're doing our roll for 25 now, so it gets tricky for us in the brain. So these appeals are for that calendar year. Now, what if the market crashed today? It's a different point in time. I hope that answers your question, and if you have any other questions, we can talk offline, and educate you downstairs.
Sorry to digress.
No
I just
problem.
didn't understand.
No,
the
it's, I mean,
significance.
part of this is it's helpful to
if-
clarify to people kind of how their process works too. But what you highlighted is, I mean, we've seen cases like this before. Yeah, like especially the last couple of meetings where the classification becomes decisive, and this is similar to some other cases that we've seen so far this year where, you know, which classification is right and wrong when you have a neighbor right down the road that is very similar, that, you know, that has happened.
And just one more thing, just for
we take
education, I don't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Bod, but also for assessment purposes, or what we're tasked to do, in a statistical, I fight the urge to kind of cowboy and fix, you know, it's like a domino effect. It would take away from also certifying our role every year. So it's a very complex dynamic that every assessor's office in the state of Rhode Island has to manage. So that's why there's just certain times that you would, as an assessor, want to do that. Now, during discovery, I can absolutely handle it, and that's something that we're looking at now.
Okay, we're at 14 minutes, as a friendly reminder.
No, I'm good. I understand the case and I have the information I need.
Okay, so what we do here is we're going to hear all the new business today, and then what we do is at the end of the meeting, we will discuss as a board. We will close the public hearing, we'll discuss as a board and come up with a, you know, with a decision on everybody that's here. And we'll try to get through everybody, and pretty much we've been running meetings until 12:30, and then we're all pretty well ready to go home. And we'll get through what we can, and if we don't get through everything today, we'll just have to reschedule it probably for March 25th. So if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to, and you know, you can listen to us discuss how we're going to arrive at a decision on what's been presented today.
I don't think we're going to stay around much longer, but if it does get moved, well, if the decision-making doesn't get done today and it goes to the 25th, is it to our benefit to be here for the next meeting, or no?
Everyone in the room will be notified. You're not gonna not know what's going on, but just be patient, because we do have, you know, other things happening. So within 10 days of any given meeting, but since the next meeting is pretty much within 10 days, later today, we'll be sending out notices. Tomorrow, it'll be done right away.
Okay, is there going to be anything online? We're going to be traveling, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch you.
We're going to be traveling starting tomorrow, so by the time we get the letter.
Yeah, you can, once you get the
It'll be
letter, you can
online.
communicate, hey, that doesn't work out, and we'll individually figure that out.
We'll probably we'll probably have time today to make a decision, but the bottom line is, the public hearing is, you know, I mean, we won't have any other questions, and if we do, when the owner's here, that's fine, but very seldom, you know, we've got enough information here, so we've done our gathering of information phase at this point. So we don't really, you know, we don't need any input from the appellant at this point from here on in to make a decision.
Okay, and the decision, once the decision is made, it comes back to us how? Okay, we'll get
Staff will
email.
notify you via mail, I guess, or...
Everyone will get an approval, whatever the board decision letters,
Okay.
whatever the decision may be.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is Appeal Number 100, James and Rebecca Cook.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Becky, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Didn't realize that was you sitting there.
It's me.
I do know the appellant, but I'm not going to recuse myself because I have a, you know, I just know who they are or know them a little bit, but I'm fine staying involved. You've already heard how we run the meeting, correct? So
Yes,
if you
all
want
set.
to present something, we're more than welcome, or more than ready to hear you.
Okay. So we moved to South Kingstown 5 years ago, and everything was going well until the tax assessment came in this past year. So I worked with the department, which was great, and there has been some deductions that have come down, but we still feel like it's way off with, especially because of the home that we are currently living in. So our address, I'm sorry, I'm Becky Cook, and this is Jim Cook, and we're at 180 Omer Drive. So the house that we currently live in was built in 1930. It is on 6.5 acres, and the comps that I pulled were neighbors that were as close as I could get to as far as acreage goes, and other buildings and sheds that were on the property. The reason why, there's a couple of reasons why we feel that the assessment is off. One is our dwelling is much smaller than all the other dwellings. 3/4 of our property is wetlands, and then we have too much value placed on our house. Our house is 864 square feet. I feel like it's even smaller because a lot of that is a boiler room. But anyway, I know you go by the outside. So our tax assessment went up from, real quick, we had $429, and then we had an additional $431,500 added to the tax assessment, and we had not changed anything on the property at that point. The most increase of our neighbors, which I'm looking at 117 Omer Drive now, that one was 6.32 acres, ours is 6.58 acres. Theirs went up 122,300, and the next closest one is 5.47 acres, and it only went up 65,000. I have consulted with a realtor that has been in the business for a long time. She said market value today, the subject of the home, the property would never sell for that because of the house itself being so old and not the greatest condition. And that's the main house. It was built, like I said, it was built in 1930. We do have a detached garage, which we now finally have an ADU in, which is also marked as a one-bedroom, which it is not. It's a studio. And that actually wasn't even finished when this assessment was done. So we're just a little perplexed at how it could have gone up so much. And if you took the calculation of our ADU and our house and put them together, they're smaller than every house that's back where we live. So it's, we're just confused on how it could possibly have gone up that high. There's been absolutely nothing done to the original dwelling.
Becky, would you mind letting the board know to what degree the ADU was or wasn't completed?
It was almost complete, so
It
we
was,
went through
okay.
it. Yeah, and then, yeah, so it was close to being complete.
Okay.
But again, the assessment was done before, so I guess it would be the same, right? I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
24 was the assessment, so that's the time period that we need to look at.
Right, it was almost complete, we just had like a few things to be done to, but they had gone through it and, seen where it was with everything as well.
Was the ADU in place in 2021 at the time of the last assessment?
No, it was just an empty space.
Right, because it looks like, one explanation for the jump is that now the property's being assessed for a newly constructed dwelling unit.
Which it really wasn't. That we put that garage in, it was actually being built the day we moved in. So that none of that structure itself, except that the fact that the upstairs, it took us 5 years to come up with the money to get the apartment ready to rent. But, so nothing like really on the outside has been changed. Yeah. I know. My husband said we really originally were not going to rent it. We were going to use it as like my extra studio space or one of the kids living, staying there. But now we have to. The other thing I thought was kind of interesting as I was going through other properties, there's 7 houses back where we are. They originally were all one farm and have been subdivided. One of them has actually gone down in less in the tax assessment, which I know most people have gone up significantly because like between 100 and 150,000, but I'm just looking at the 431,500. So our taxes have, more than doubled our property taxes for the.
Because if I'm reading this correctly, most of the improved value on the assessment is from the accessory dwelling unit. That contributes, looks like 376,000 out of the 497,000 for the buildings. So that's, I think that's where it's coming. I don't have the previous assessment, so I can't tell if that's the explanation for the jump, but. Right.
On the first page,
Yeah.
under D, section 1.
Got it.
Again, I don't know if that's accurate.
Yep.
You can see it on the field card here under previous assessments.
Oh, thank you.
At 2025, 2024, go back to year 2023, and on every field card throughout town, you're going to see the previous assessment. That's the prior statistical revaluation assessment, whether there was an improvement or not.
So previously, like help me with this. So previously it was a garage, and so it was just kind of an outbuilding that was folded into the improvements. And then in the last assessment, now it's building number 2, contributing near something like whatever I just said. So that is the difference. Is the new ADU had
The new-
previously been assessed as a
Correct. So the
garage
new-
outbuilding and is
So-
now a house, essentially a
Correct.
house, a dwelling unit.
So if you look at the 2023, the garage is assessed at 28.2. That was where it was at the end of 2022. And then the land was 195 and the primary
Thank you.
structure was 124.7.
Thank you.
So that's, and when you put in, with ADUs now, you know, everyone, this is a big thing, it goes on a separate card.
Yep.
So when you put an ADU over a garage, it makes that garage more valuable. Even, you know what I mean? It's just, I did the same
Yeah.
thing, so I know. I
Yeah,
got
but
hit
it almost,
too.
it really almost deters people, like they're saying that the town really needs affordable housing and ADUs,
Right.
and it's going to deter everybody from putting an ADU in,
Well,
because
you
now
know, the
there is that
exemption that you're gonna, which will start for you, you'll get the ADU exemption for 5 years. So that ADU won't be taxed for 5 years. So you'll get a little bit of a break with that.
When does that, so, and that starts then once that
That starts
has
the
a-
year after the CO
CO.
is issued, which I think for them, yeah, full 5. So for her, when you get your tax bill in July, that assessed value of the ADU, not the garage, just living space, will be exempt, and you'll see it on your tax bill.
Okay.
And now, this was,
It will say,
Okay.
so it's clear,
Okay.
you know, so you'll get that for,
and if it was under construction at the time of the like, is there any, like, what I'm hearing was it was under construction, but what
Yeah.
they're saying is a completed structure. I don't know how to reconcile that discrepancy.
If you look on the back of the field card, I gave you before and afters because there were some minor adjustments, and I did issue an abatement when I received the appeal. If you look on the back of the structure, on the second card, card 2 of 2? Yes. You'll see year built, effective year built, percent good. So we had that on the books as fully completed. Had it even been 95%, you would have seen UC under, is it condition? Where do you put that UC? Yeah, you would have seen UC in 95. So it was 100% complete in our books. Ooh, she is on the, I can look up our spreadsheet, but I'm almost positive. You get your first, I'm
It was
almost positive
it
this
was
year you
close,
get your
though.
first full year abatement. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It was very close, but it wasn't,
But for
Right,
assessment
right.
purposes, that's
For
irrelevant.
assessment
So for our
purposes-
purposes, how you are taxed or not taxed is not part of our decision-making. We just want to make sure that the
Right.
assessment is accurate.
right. The other question that I have is, like, when we first moved in there, of course, it was during the pandemic, and we had architects come in, and basically all the architects on the main house were like, you need to knock this thing over. So, like, how does that, I know we're saying it goes on the garage, but if we were to do a resale on the property with a house that's not very comfortable to live in, it's a tear down, like, how does that not affect the
That we-
assessment?
That's very subjective, so you'd have
Okay.
to show us that it is a tear down. But other than that, we're just going to be looking at square footage and age and things of that nature.
Right.
Again, being subjective means,
yeah.
Obviously, you guys did not tear it down, and you live in
No.
it, so.
Yes, it's
so
And
lovely.
the
so
adjust-
it'd be- it would go on the grade of the property,
Right.
which we could look at. but-
Okay.
But not specifically to that.
Which also goes with the fact that it was in 1930
Mm-hmm.
with the one right next door and all, okay.
And that was, so the adjustment that you applied already was to that, to the existing, the
Oh,
old
yeah, I
structure?
definitely had sympathy, and I agreed with you
Yeah.
that there needed to be some change. I actually changed the style on my initial decision letter. I made several adjustments. Overall, it wasn't a large adjustment, but I did change the style to colonial from conventional on the main building. I added a 2% obsolescence just for the building layout. I've been removing lean-tos as I've seen them from outbuildings. We used to tax lean-tos, we're not
Yeah.
anymore. And then the second card, I changed it from a cape to a ranch. So
Yeah.
I guess you'd call that tinkering to
Yeah.
what I thought it would be most correct. So if you look at the back of the first card, card 1 of 2, you'll see the colonial, you'll see a grade 3 average, and you will see a depreciation of 48%, and then you'll see that external obsolescence of 2%. So there were adjustments that was taken into account. Whether you want to take it down further, that's between you and the board.
And then I guess the other just thing I'm hearing is the land.
Right.
I just want to take a look at the land, because you're saying that a portion of the site is,
Most of it is wetlands now.
right, right, okay. And now, so I see that the acre number 1 is assessed as a home site, $217,400. The remaining 5.5 acres is essentially low utility land, assessed at $27,000 total. So the additional land acreage is not
Yeah.
really being assessed for much at all. It's just the base.
I will say there's no accommodation for the wetlands, and on our assessor maps, I don't have it delineated as such, so if you want to prove there's some wetlands, there's some meat on the bone there, but
Okay.
So it doesn't, nothing's showing up on the GIS that indicates wetlands?
So I do have, I didn't bring it today, but I do have that, which I can get to you. Okay.
You have some type of documented wetland map from a biologist, Becky?
Oh,
Or an
yes.
engineer?
Yep.
Is that, now, there are adjustments that you, if someone brings to you evidence like that, is that something that can happen in the assessor's office and doesn't need to involve us? If there's like a, good, okay, that's helpful.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I think I kind of have gotten the gist, and I've covered my bases.
My husband just wanted me to mention that the front 2 acres were buildable when we purchased there, but now it's considered wetlands. We had to get somebody out there. So,
Okay, any other comments, questions from the board? All right, so you're going to bring in, you've got some type of wetland map that's documented from a professional wetlands biologist or engineer or something like that. If you could bring that to the, if you could submit that, that would be great. And we'll talk about it at the end of the meeting, and if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to.
okay, do you want all these notes? I don't know if you want them or not.
I don't know.
No?
I don't
You're
think
good?
we need them. I
You're
mean, does
good?
anybody have any other questions? I think we're pretty clear as to what was presented.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the ADU aspect of it's going to be.
Yeah, the ADU is really where it's all
Going to be
at.
the challenge, and that's a new thing for us.
Yeah.
The whole ADU world is, but that's where it's probably a lot of the added value is there, so we're just going to have to look to make sure that it's appropriate. But I think we understood everything else you said, so thank you.
The part about that was, we had to go under the 750 originally, so we actually had to pay more to make sure it was under that.
yeah, you were grandfathered in because of all the turnover during COVID. I'm not even go into it, but the ADU ordinance was put on the books in 2021, and that's when we had some shuffling, and I hate to admit it, but I can only speak the truth. It did go through, what fell through the cracks, where someone actually came into the office to apply for the exemption. I'm like, what ADU exemption? So the building official and I kind of scuttled to put it together. I mean, we're happy with it, went to our solicitors, and it is what it is, based on the ordinance that was on the books where we weren't actually even brought into. So there's some complications with with it being that's a whole nother thing that's not for the board. So there was a couple of folks that were kind of in that middle of the gray area, and the town had empathy for that. The building official and I made a collective decision to go ahead and reach out to those folks, and you were one of them, to kind of be like, hey, we're not going to close the door, but if you want to come on in. And so there was some gray area. So I'm glad that you were brought in, but you were grandfathered into the old in-law versus the new ADU ordinance. It gets complicated, but we'll leave it at that. That's the Cliff Notes.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day. Next item on the agenda is Appeal Number 101, Zurcher, George and Carol. Is anybody here representing the appellant?
Before you speak, I do have the packets that you submitted, so I'm going to give that to them now because they had picked up their binders prior to, so give me 1 minute.
They haven't had the binders?
Okay, now we're ready. Thank you for being patient.
Good morning. If you could state your name for the record and present whatever you'd like to, it would be appreciated.
My name is Carol Zurcher. We live at 2485 Post Road, Wakefield. I had a packet for each of you with all the pertinent documents for our appeal, as well as there are attachments in there for each of the points. The first thing that I wanted you to see for the appeal was the area that we live in. We're located next to a protected DEM landmass. We're across the street from a large protected farm, a fish hatchery, and a cemetery. There's a working farm, a cemetery, and Miss Gamble's protected land just west of us. And I attached a map showing our location. I believe you have both of these attachments in there. Before making the appeal, I spoke with 2 realtors and a real estate assessor, all of whom who are retired, and said they didn't have enough time to help with the research, but they had interesting things that they brought up, and all 3 said the same thing. They first asked me why we would be asked to find the information when it was readily available at the town hall, and why, as a taxpayer, were we asked to do it. That was just a question each of the 3 of them had, because they said we didn't have access to an MLS, that we would have to spend a lot of hours looking up the information, which I did. They said that the real estate values in our area, of course, are based on location, location, location. And they said our house is not in a prime location for such a high assessment. They did all point out that we're north of Route 1 and north of Post Road, which means that I should bring that up to you at the appeals meeting, because we are not in a high-dollar area. We're in a rural area with lots of natural and undeveloped space, and there are not many people and not many buildings in our area. We built this house to live in 30 years ago. We put a lot of sweat equity into it. We did a lot of the work ourselves. It wasn't a house that we wanted to sell, nor are we looking to sell this house. And we really don't want to be priced out of living in this house. I attached a tax history for you. That's this page. And my understanding was from the assessor when I met with her that when the mill rate goes up and the assessment goes down, you have a relatively similar tax from the year before. And you can see that in the beginning years of 2018, pretty much through to this year. We did have an 11.6 increase. We did have a 25.80 increase. And then we had a 61.90 increase this past assessment. So our taxes, instead of staying roughly $2,300, $2,400, $2,500 a quarter, went up to $3,161. That was the 31% increase. So that formula sort of mill rate versus assessment didn't work out for us there. There are 2 sites on the, excuse me. I gave you an appraisal chart for areas. I looked at Red House Road, which is near us. I looked at Gravelly Hill near us. I looked at Ministerial Highway, which is further away from us, to look at the average values of houses in the area and the type of percent increases that they went up. You'll see on the chart that the average increase for the structures went up 22.7. Ours went up 74.4. You look at the land, the average went up 25.1. Ours went up 28.4. A little higher, but that's okay. It's within that range. You look at the overall increase between the new appraisal and the old appraisal, they went up 25.1. We went up 61.9. It seems that there's a rather large difference there in our house. Yes, our house is different, but we're in an area where the houses are not high value. If you look at Red House Road, which is the nearest road to us, the average structure went up 13.03. Ours went up, oh no, excuse me. The average land went up 29.8, and the average total went up 20.48. So if you look at that against ours for nearby houses, that's what I showed. I was asked to look at housing that sold in 2024 in our area. According to what I found on the town assessor's site, and there again, I don't have MLS. I looked as much as I possibly could. This is the page that I found in your packet. The 4-bedroom, 3-bath at the top on Oakwoods, which isn't in the range of ours, is in Wakefield. It's in a development. The one on Curtis Corner for $1.6 million is not near us. And the other one, $1.45 million on Ministerial, is near Camp Aquapog, which is quite a distance from us. Several locations that were in the same range as us were actually on Green Hill Pond, which is not near us. And it's also in a high-dollar area. If you look at the cards for Ian Cruson on Gravelly Hill Road, he's near South Shore Development, which is a high-dollar area. And his house is not listed as a custom as ours is, but if you look at the picture of his, I'm sorry, it's a field card like this. Okay? If you look at his house, it looks very much like ours, although it's listed as a conventional house. If you look at Del Mastro, right here, okay, her house is also on Green Hill Pond, similar style. But if you notice her field card, she was assessed on the last one at $439,400 for the house, and she only went up to $467,500 for the house. Similar house to ours, and ours is $1,075,000. And that's a huge difference. Similar house, high-dollar area across the highway, very, very different assessment. One of the questions I had on our field card, again, it's under Zerker, 2485.
This is a picture, I'm just in the back of the Indigo Point Road one.
Yes, that's it, 8
Those
Indigo.
are photographs of that home? So the Del Mastro house, is that?
This one.
Right, okay.
And if you
I'm just
look-
like following along, because this,
Well, if you look at the last page, it also shows that,
that was classified as modern contempt. It's another style that, like, this is a new style for, we haven't seen modern contempt come up, like, but is that modern contempt?
I'm finding houses that look similar to ours that
Yeah,
aren't designated. Okay, and if you look at...
understood. I'm following along, yeah,
Okay,
I'm definitely following along.
If you look at the last page, the last picture, It's another question I have on our field card. And I'm not saying anything about the assessment because I don't know what the Ocean View does for assessment. I have no idea. But my question would be, if you look at someone who's on Green Hill Pond and they have Ocean View, and of course the ocean is now 3, 4, 5 miles closer than we are, and we have distant Ocean View, what is the difference when you put it on a card as to what Ocean View is? Is it distant? Is it ocean? What is it called? You know?
So is this, and this is the Del Mastro property?
This is Del Mastro, and it's on Green Hill Pond. You'll see the top picture up here.
Yeah, I mean, to
Okay.
answer the question, your home has a condition factor for distant water view of 1.43, and that home is just 1, so you're getting assessed more for the water view than this home.
And they're on a pond and Ocean View, and they're, like I say, 4 or 5 miles away from us
Understood.
towards the ocean. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
The other
I
thing is-
understand your point.
The other thing is, I didn't see on the card, where on the card is Ocean View listed for them? Or pond?
I don't see it on that
Okay,
card at all.
I didn't see it, it's a question. So that's why I put the picture, because if you look in
Fair
the...
question.
If you look in the bottom view here on that card with the 3 pictures, okay, these two, okay, show the Ocean View Pond. This is ours. Mostly what you see is the telephone wires, but I can tell you that at the edge where the tree line is down at the bottom, the dark part, all right, the ocean's just behind it for us. That's our Ocean View. Now, on good days, it's nice. On bad days, it's not there. But it's not full ocean view. I can tell you that when my grandmother lived in the area, she could see it out her bedroom window, and she is down from us and across the street, way down, and they could see the ocean. But it's been, 100 and some years, second growth has come up. As that comes up, it blocks the view there. Anyway, okay, so then...
So it's a seasonal water view, would you say, or is it?
Yes, yes. In the summertime, it's very hard to see the water. In the wintertime, right now, I can see it. Some days it's better, other days it's not. And I do love it. I did, you don't have this, but I'll show you. These are 2 of the sheets of properties. I looked at each and every one of these. I went up the road for Ministerial, I went up the road for Red House Road, I went up the road for Gravelly Hill. I looked in each and every property on the computer to see what the houses were like, what they looked like, values, and most of the ones I found were built like 2021 and up. A lot of them were 2024, 3 to 1, very, very new. A lot of them were waterfront, or they were on ponds. On Ministerial, there were some properties that were similar to ours in price, and they were 3 buildings, or 2 buildings, or again on the pond or waterfront. They were not listed as custom. They were either conventional or modern contemporary. It was very, very difficult. And one of the things that the realtors had said to us was, oh, if I have it. I don't know if I put it, that it would be very hard to find a similar property in our area where we are, and it would be hard to find a property that had recently sold, because it's considered a built-up area, according to the realtors and the assessor, retired assessor, and you're just not going to find anything really much like our house for sale, sold. And again, we are not looking to sell our house, almost ever. Next door to us, there's the old church that they remodeled. They're quite a ways below our assessment, and they have either bed and breakfast or rented basement. So they have, two properties in one building, and it's less than ours. I realize it's an older structure, but it got all remodeled the first time it was sold, and it's been remodeled since then. So just to say, well, there's a house right next door to you that has similar value, it's not similar. There's another one across the street, which means it's across Route 1, across Post Road, across the fields, across Route 1, and it's Kathy Jackson's property. And they have an 8.5 acre lot. We have 5.77. They have an 8-car garage. They have 3 parcels on the land, one of which was 4.5 acres with a home and a pond. They had a heated and cooled automobile garage and barn, 3 bays, 2 car lifts, a second lot with 2 acres, a separate garage with an additional 2-bedroom apartment, and a third lot of 2 acres. This is down near Moonstone, Truston Pond. It's across the highway, and it's valued at $1 million to $1.188 million. And our property is nowhere in comparison to this property, and they did sell it. They sold it for $1.375, and it's still below what our house is assessed at. One of the things I could not hear who was speaking here or what you were saying to them, and so I'm going to ask it again. Do you have a definition for modern, contemporary, conventional, and custom? Because when I was looking at these homes, and I was looking for custom because that's what ours is listed at, I was very confused, especially if you look at something like the Cruson house, which I gave you the picture of. It's almost fancier than our house. I would say it was a custom. It's not listed as a custom, as are some of the other ones that I found. And I didn't make pictures of everything. Oh, okay. And then on that Del Mastro house that you had, the one on Indigo Point, I believe it was, they only went up $28,000 on their assessment. First, it was probably a third of the value of ours, and then they only went up $28,000 for the assessment. And ours is 30 years old, and theirs, I have when it was built, but it's newer. Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions from the board?
You asked a question about whether there's the assessor does have definitions for all of these styles that
okay.
I don't have available to me now, but I know that we've talked a lot about classification and style before, so there is a definition. I find the definition to be somewhat subjective in places, and that's been an issue in cases like what you presented very effectively, is cases where similar homes are classified differently to great material effect on folks' assessments. Like in the case of the one home that you showed us that's classified as modern contemporary, it looks very similar to yours, which is classified as custom. That's one of the issues that we've been trying to reconcile and resolve. There is a definition, and we're seeing cases where the definition is applied differently. The question I have, though, just about custom, I'm curious about the construction of your home 30 years ago. If you could just tell us a little bit about the history of that.
Okay.
Architect design, what was what went on, and just so we understand kind of the basis of the classification from that perspective.
Okay. We hired an architect, Arnold, out of Westerly. We were not confident for ourselves to build, although my father has built his home and other buildings. We weren't confident to do it, and my husband wanted to do something nice. So we hired the architect, and he designed the house with us. We did have Rowley Dyer from West Kingston build the house. We did all the shingles. We did all the trim, wood painting. and I'm scared of heights, and I did it, except he said you have to take one hand off the building in order to run a brush. The third thing was that I did, all the sanding, staining, and polying of all the doors, all the interior wood, so that we could save money to put into the structure. We did flip a smaller home when we sold it into it, so we could take a low mortgage. We intended to live in this house. I don't want to sell this house. We were not building it to sell it. My father and my husband took all the extra lumber and all the roof shingles, and we still have hand-dipped shingles still to this day. We took everything so that we could build a shed, because he said, it's silly to have anybody build a shed. We can do this. He said, I can build this. So we did it. We do most of everything that we can. We did all the landscaping. You know, I don't know if I'm saying it's not a custom house, because it is, in my mind, it is a well-designed custom house. It is. The architect did a beautiful job with us. But as far as constructing the house, we put in a massive amount of sweat equity into this house. It wasn't like we had a builder come and build it, you know. I don't know what else I can tell you, but that's how it was built. We did all the clearing of the land in order to make that mesa, because we're on a saddleback. You can't build on a saddleback. You have to knock it down. Otherwise, it would have been even up higher by about, I think, 10 or 15 feet. So we did all the work in preparation, and then we did a lot of the work in the building of it. But,
Thank you, that's very helpful.
okay. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I do have one more question. Okay. When you make your decision, I know that the first, I guess you'd call it an appeal, we got a letter and it said denied. That doesn't tell me anything. Will you please give us a reason for your decision so that we can go forward? I didn't realize that I probably should have started an appeal for the last revaluation when it doubled. It went from 11 to 20-something. This one hit me hard because I said, oh my gosh, what happened? And I knew that there had been, you know, a lot of raising of prices around. We've got another one coming up in probably 2 years now. And I'm afraid that we're going to get hit so hard that we're not going to be able to stay in that house. And I'm trying to stave that off by asking ahead of time. That's, that's my objective.
Thank you. Just to answer your question, we do discuss all of our appeals in depth, and we do come up, if there is a denial or an approval or a reduction, what we do is we put a reason for that. So every letter that goes out from this board will have a reason as to how we arrived at our decision.
Okay.
We're making a copy of the original appeal letter. There was a comp provided for the style, so.
Oh, that's Dione, and Dione was Green Hill Pond, and that's quite a ways from us. If you have other questions, will you ask us before or not?
So the way we usually work is we have this hearing with you, and then we typically make the decisions in an hour or so. So we're going to try to make the decision today. It's just sometimes we have a crunch and we have to move it on, but we have what we need from you.
Okay.
And the next conversation really is just for the board to have a conversation between ourselves to make the decision and, you know, ask the assessor some questions too, but we have your case.
I appreciate the time that you've spent doing this.
You've prepared yourself very well for this, so we thank you for the information.
Yes, well prepared. Yeah, this is a public hearing for the appellant to speak, so we do close the public hearing once we've heard everybody's input, and then we discuss it amongst ourselves. So technically, by Robert's rules, you know, there is no public or appellant participation, but you're more than welcome to stay.
This was overwhelming.
Okay, that was number 101, right? I don't think we're doing really well on our time
Well,
elements here, 10
We
minutes.
can catch
but-
up. We
but that's
can
okay.
pick the ball back up.
Yeah.
So just a reminder, appeal number 103, they have had requested to not be on a Tuesday agenda. I accidentally put them there. So requesting to move them to the March 25th agenda, which is on a Wednesday. That should work for the appellant.
So moved.
Okay, yeah, all right, we have a motion from Brad. Did you make that motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, I'll second it, to put that on the 25th agenda, correct?
Correct.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, motion passes.
I'm going to interject on the next appeal, 106, Bernard Ferrand, 204A Indigo Point Road. I received an email, and actually I will read it verbatim. Is withdrawing his application for appeal.
Okay, so so we're just going to, so what are we gonna do with that? We're just gonna
Move on?
just remove that from the agenda, and there's
You
no
have
future?
to take it off that new business, so might make sense to just issue a denial so that's clear that it's.
And then it's off the books
It's off the books.
for
Yep.
moving forward.
So in light of the communication received from the appellant, I would move to deny the appeal for number 106.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to deny appeal number 106, Forland Bernard trustee. Do we have a second?
I'll second
We
it.
have a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed,
Aye.
motion passes. Appeal number 109, Erickson. Is there anybody here representing number 109?
It's a beautiful sunny day, and I think people are outside enjoying the nice weather.
I also didn't receive any correspondence similar to, I believe it was 92, appeal number 92, so I'm not sure how you want to handle that one.
I think just to be consistent with
We'll
what
just
we've
move that,
done,
yeah.
I would make a motion to move that to the March 25th meeting as
Okay,
well.
that's right, yeah, okay. Ken is recusing himself on this one, so we have a motion on the floor to move this to the March 25th meeting. I'll make a second on that. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alice, are you voting? Yeah, you can vote on this if you'd like, because Ken has recused himself.
You're
Recused himself.
off the bench.
Okay, all right, so 109 is moved to the 25th of March. Next item on the agenda is appeal number 110, Hendrick. Is anybody here representing the owner or the appellant? Good morning. If you could state your name for the record and present your case, that would be wonderful.
Okay, my name is Alan Haskins, and appealing the last tax bill.
If you would like to present your case, that would be great.
Okay, well, I submitted a appraisal of the property, and we're just wondering what your opinion of that appraisal is. Is it something valid to change the tax rate on this property?
Comments, questions from the board?
No, you just tell us about the appraisal a little bit, because I noticed that it looks like the scope of work for the appraisal is to estimate replacement cost of the improvements only.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the assessment of the property. It's the structure that went up a lot. Is that something, can they be separated?
I mean, we certainly listen to whatever case you want to make, and it does give us an area to focus on. I mean, typically, what the assessor will tell you, typically, we don't really, it's the total assessment is what gets our attention. They do an allocation between building and land for the field card, but we really focus on the total assessment. That being said, if there's something, like if you have observations about the condition of your home or other observations about the structure that can inform our decision making, we're open-minded to that. You have you're assessed at 540, 300 for the building. We're obviously looking at the total assessment, which looks like 920,000, but there's obviously a reason you're focusing on the building itself. It looks like the replacement cost is somewhere in the 400s based on the appraisal that was provided.
Correct.
So you kind of are disputing, is it the physical condition or the quality?
I would say the construction, and I do have a comp that they sent us, and it's nowhere close to being a comparison to what we have. The comp is located down in Matunic, and it's a specialized built building. It's storm surge building. Okay, it doesn't match with ours at all. So, yeah, I'm just contesting the comp, and the products and the style of the house really doesn't justify the increased cost that they assessed us.
Mm-hmm. No, and it looks like your home, it looks like there's incomplete construction, or there's areas of the home where you've kind of started work and it's not finished. There's non-functional bathrooms, things like that. Is that?
It's still under construction.
We had it at 95% UC for year-end 12/31/24.
So this is new construction too. This is something that you've commenced in
Yeah.
the last couple of years.
Yeah, probably started in '22.
I'm looking at this Swift estimator that you have here, and so this is basically something, I'm somewhat familiar with this, so it looks like that this is what your projected cost is for the construction, $421,798. Is that is correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is,
And it is,
the cost new would be $452. So they've deducted 30,000 to
Yeah,
account
okay.
for the age, and I believe
Depreciation.
and I think also it looks like they're including some of the unfinished. They've deducted a certain percentage for unfinished work at some point, and that might actually be in the 408,000 estimate. So the improvements at 420, and then there's I'm sorry, I'm just like trying to flip through and follow along, but they have accounted for the unfinished work as well. Sorry, I don't want, that was a question for,
I don't have any other questions, Brad. I guess I do have another question. So basically, how much of this, is this house, this is not finished inside, correct? I mean, the interior is still, needs to be finished?
We're gonna go to about 95% finished at this point.
So, I mean, you've got a CO, correct?
No, not yet.
And you're living in the house?
No, we're not.
Oh, you're not living in the house, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Currently, and it's not finished currently.
Correct.
How about during the, what has happened between 24, when this assessment came out, and now?
What has happened?
Yes.
Okay, interior finish work, okay, such as floors, kitchen cabinets, trim work. Right now, we're finishing off the bathroom.
So my question would be, I guess, to Wendy, because you have it at 95, but in 24, it would have been less than it is now, and it's not done now. So I'm going to have a hard time reaching an opinion of value in 24, not knowing.
The extent of finish?
Correct.
So you're saying 2024, at the end of it?
Did the assessor's office, like, look at it, do any type of on-site inspection? Yep.
So I don't know if this matters at all, but for year-end '23, it was under construction at 53%. So then year-end '24, we had at 95, so
25.
95% complete. So that's pretty,
95 at the end
you're
of
talking about a
24.
very small percentage, 5%, and that's finishing. I have a chart if you want to know exactly what the 5% was down to, but it's all interior finishing.
Basically, once the structure.
The
Yeah, okay,
outside,
yeah.
as far as a site visit, was technically 100%, but we don't make the assumption since we don't go inside. So we gave you the benefit of the doubt.
Just for our purposes, so the what was submitted by the appraiser is effective September 2025. Was any work completed between December 31st, 2024 and September 2025? Or in other words, is what was standing on the site in September 2025 when the appraiser did their work, does that reflect the physical status of the property as of the assessment date, December 31st?
Well, in the interior, we were working on the interior at that time, doing the flooring, having the cabinets installed. And, let's see. Oh, electrical work, interior electrical work also. We had the rough plumbing already done, but there was other plumbing, like kitchen sink and things like that were being done.
Okay.
Other questions, comments from the board?
No, none from me.
Okay, I think we're good, unless you have any other quick comments that you'd like to make.
Well, yeah, just, this is miscellaneous question here. The assessment showed 2 outbuildings. I guess this is for her. We have no outbuildings on the property. They are 2 temporary storage units.
So you're referring to the 2 sheds that we have
Correct.
for 2025?
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the back,
Are
under
you
the
referring
trees.
to, if you can look up at the screen, are you referring to, Jen, you went out to the property,
back.
is that where the sheds are?
No, the
hard to
back of the house, under the trees.
Oh, right here, you can
Yeah.
barely see it.
Yeah.
Imagine if you flew in the spring, you wouldn't see anything.
So,
Yeah, it's hard to
those-
see from this photo, but that's something that we work on all year. I get calls for sheds and lean-tos, that
So if they're temporary and when you take them down,
we would take them off your
you can
car.
let us know, and
yeah.
we'll take them off like that.
Okay, so do you want me to stop in and say to you guys?
Or send us an email, or whatever works for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, the only way for us to capture it would be if somebody appealed, and then we look at it, or again, like I mentioned earlier during a statistical, we are going to be contracting with a vendor where they do like reconciliation. So if we have on our books a shed or something and it's not there, that it'll kick out a report. Unfortunately, we're still kind of in the times of yore, so once we get better software, we can get a little bit better at some of this, but we rely on the community to work with us, so absolutely shoot us an email. This happens all the time.
Okay, we'll stop in there. Thank you, guys.
We're going to take a 5-minute break here. Sorry about that, but, yeah. Okay, we'll take 5 minutes, request from the staff, and we'll re-adjourn at 11 o'clock.
I have to make a motion.
Have to hit
Yeah.
that button to the right with the little people.
Yeah.
Okay, it's complicated.
On
All right,
top,
so we're
on.
going to share.
We'll share it.
Yeah, it's,
That would be a lot easier to share.
yeah, because otherwise, I'll be pushing the wrong buttons.
Okay, just for the record, the board
Yes.
is back in session, our break is over, and we have appeal number 114. And if there's somebody here that would like to discuss their appeal,
Yes.
we're all ears.
My name is Arthur Robidoux. and this-
Maureen.
Okay. All right, so we met last time with the assessment office, and we discussed some of the things that we thought was misleading in our vision appraisal. And I'm seeing it again. We also brought up points where we had a remodel job done back in 2018, and Wendy said that it was a mistake that was done. We invited Jen and Wendy into our unit to look at physically what we have. A kitchen that was 2003, one bathroom that is at least 50% original to the unit back in 1986. Even though it looks great, but otherwise I would have done a lot more work on it. But the point was that it was incorrectly done, and Wendy said we can't do retroactive, we can only go forward. Okay, that's the way life is. What percent good was 92%, if I remember correctly, last evaluation. That was based on 2018 being completely remodeled. It was not. Again, Wendy and Jen walked in, they saw the condition, and even though it's nice, but it's, the kitchen is, 23 years old. Well, anyhow, looking at this, and things were supposed to be changed. We had one unit 16 completely gutted and sold for $1.125 million, approximately 2022. Now, we were number 2 as far as evaluation. Now we're number 1. And some of the paperwork in front of you we had brought to the assessor's office saying that, how can this represent us very well compared to the other units? Wendy had said that a lot of times people get remodeling and they don't pull permits, so you just don't know what's inside. That's fair. Well, on this one, our taxes went up $334,700. And then we're number 1 now at Shadow Farm. And I'm looking back at some of the paperwork here, and then I went on Zillow, and I compared what we have to other units that show remodeled kitchens, bathrooms. Unit 16 shows that it was completely redone. Our evaluation is higher than theirs. Also, there's certain units, because Shadow Farm is many different styles. There's a manor house, there is a upper-lower barn carriage, and then there's called the clusters, and we live in a cluster in the end. These clusters are built between 1985 and 87-ish, and ours was done in 86. So what happens is that a lot of people, every time they sell it, what's the first thing people do? Remodel a bathroom, or first of all, kitchen, and then bathrooms right afterwards. So online Zillow shows and I have a list of the units here, Unit 3, Unit 5, 14, 16, 17, 21, 26, 42, and that was available for me to look at. Many of them aren't. That has new kitchens. It shows many updates, even though the assessor office does not show that. All right, so going back to what we're paying for a total appraised parcel value of $976,500. Some of these units, ours is an N unit. I'm going to bring up one that is an independent unit. There's only 2 that are completely like a house within this development, and the other independent ones have an attached pathway. here's an example of one like that. Unit 16. They're appraised at $910,700, which is approximately, what, $76,000 less than us. This has been completely gutted, and it's an individual unit with attached roofing. One section, a pathway. I can't believe that. Now, the assessor office said to us, because we're a condo, people have ocean views, that doesn't, or water views, that doesn't count for anything because you're in a condo. If that's the case, you guys are losing a lot on tax base because these units would sell on any market value a lot more because of a water view. So they should rethink that because, we could use a better bike path or upgrades for some.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
our ticket or whatever it's called, says we have a Lakeview and we do not have a Lakeview.
And it said it was completely redone in 2018.
And it was not.
We were told last time we talked in front of you, in the assessor's office, they were going to correct that. It was not corrected. Our percent good is 80. On a unit that was completely gutted, and there's other ones that have been way developed. On unit 16, percent good is 71. We're 80, and we still have a 2003 kitchen. Original part of the bathroom is, the shower and enclosure is all original to the construction of 1986. So how can we be a percent good at 80 and someone that's been gutted at 71, and it's consistent with all these units? 73 seems to be the average, and we're at 80? I mean, that's an argument that I can't understand. Also, since we are, let's say it's an elongated ranch and there's units, there's 4 units in our cluster, and we're on the end, and we have, they expanded at one point, some owners, back in 2003, when they did a major upgrade, is they went into the attic. And some of these units have the original design, and upstairs with normal windows like you have in here, you can see outside. We're in the attic, and there's other units that are similar to that, but the point is we're in the attic. So you're going back to some of these units that, right here, units 27, unit 27, which is in something that's called the garden cluster, and that means really nothing to you people, and it shouldn't. But they have the 2 buildings that are independent of everybody else within this cluster area, surrounded by stone walls. Living area of 1965, ours is 2003. They're appraised, let's see, it's 73, the percent good, and they're appraised at $800,200. No, excuse me, that's the next door neighbor, that's 28, because that's almost the same. They're at 940, which seems high compared to everybody else, like ours. Right across from them is unit 28, and they're having a new kitchen put in as we speak right now. And hopefully that is documented somewhere. As of Unit 3 is being completely renovated. Dumpsters have been out there. Disfano Construction they have like 6, 7 vehicles there constantly. So I want to make sure that company is actually pulling permits. And they will be doing something on Unit 20, because we just approved that as a board, them to expand upstairs. So I want to make sure that gets documented. All right, Unit 28, appraised parcel value is $800,200. I've been in there, updated kitchen, and their percent good is, again, 73, that magic number 73 that just seems to pop up more often than not. And again, we're 80. So our taxes, we are paying based on $976,500, and here is an independent unit, upgraded, and everybody has their own opinion, but a newer kitchen than ours, Independent building completely at $176,000 less than ours. I can't understand that. And I had Wendy and Jen come in and look at ours, and I gave them a map of the site saying, I have been in probably 75% of the units, because anytime there's a crisis, call Art, and Art comes over and looks at, so I'm not intentionally walking around saying, well, they have this, but I know what I see in the areas that I go into, and I'm just like, how can I be, if I'm paying this much, then everybody else should be higher than that. So why are we paying the most in taxes at Shadow Farm? And from my viewpoint, we don't have what other people have as far as updates, and our percent good is the highest. It's just, and we don't, our bedrooms are in the attic. So how is that more valuable than going upstairs and having normal windows? Okay, I can rattle on forever, way past that 20 minutes, so I'm sorry. But you can feel the emotion. What I'm saying is that I just don't understand. And Wendy, rejected that and saying, well, we think you're paying the right amount of taxes. Well, then, how come everybody else is not paying at the same scale that we are? So I think you have all the documentations that we have, so you can look at that and go, the numbers, I mean, I can make stuff up, but the numbers here, and then, like I said to the tax assessor office, just go on Zillow. And I'm not saying Zillow is always the correct thing, but when they have photographs showing all this remodeling being done, and not that every one at Shadow Farm, but just, maybe about 8 of them that have 2, 4, 6, 7, approximately 8 show that something's wrong with what we're being taxed at. So, any questions?
So just a quick question for the assessor's office. I think I'm missing from my packet the back of their field card for the subject, and I don't know if I could get a copy. Oh, is there? Okay, so I have to just look that up. This happens, so oh, I see. Thank you. All right. Thank you, I'm blind. Now, in cases like this, when we have the condos, what ends up happening is, you come in and, it's good discovery for the assessor. They're gathering information on all the other units in your development. You're making a good case for why your neighbors should be assessed higher. So, and that's, when we are faced with these kind of inconsistencies, especially in a condo development, it's hard to reconcile without, refocusing back on the subject. Because we're not going to go around and start raising people's assessments here. We're really trying to focus on your property. Right. So my only question is if you just can walk us back. Looks like you purchased the condo, was it in?
2019.
2009, so, I mean, maybe just like a little bit more on, what the condition and the finish was when you purchased it, anything that had been done recently before you bought it, and then anything that you've done in the last 6 or 7 years to upgrade the interior of the unit. Because we will, we can take a look at the, the depreciation applied relative to the other units that you've mentioned. Well, but it'd be good to know, have you fully renovated the interior, and just like any kind of property history you could give us.
No, I painted the kitchen cabinets. And I'm being a joke there.
See, our concern was that it's still showing that it was redone
in 2018.
And it was not. It was done in
And so
2000.
if they base everything on 2018, our percent good should be at 80%. It used to be at 92 until Wendy corrected that and brought that to our attention. Well, but paperwork here says. Oh, I'm just going by what the front says.
That are done by Vision that.
I've inherited a ton of old notes that we have to clean up, but,
Oh, okay.
and
Well,
we've been tackling them, so.
Okay, so,
That's been taken.
all right, so next question would be, why is our percent good at 80? Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I missed that.
It's based on the age, on your effective year built is 2004.
Oh, okay.
So 2024,
Okay.
minus 2004 is 20.
All right, so-
So that's your depreciation is 20. So you're 80%.
Built in 1980 something.
Right, but there was a permit pulled in 2002
Okay.
for 50,000 that they redid, it looks like they redid some work before you purchased it
Okay.
in 2002.
Yeah,
So that's
okay.
why your,
Percent good, okay.
Okay.
So, all right, but percent good on the average is 73 here. I mean, just,
Right, but if-
and some are 7, some are 68. And I show with the Zillow, and I send you a connection to that, why are they at 73 when you can see, and then again, Unit 16 that sold for $1.125 million back in 2022, why are they at a lower percent good than we are? And it's, you got pictures on, I'm telling you that, but you can go to Zillow and you go, this is it. We know they gutted them. You can see everything's brand new. So why is the percentage good at 73?
it's in a long list of changes that have to be
Yeah,
made.
I know, but I have to pay. We overpaid previously. Wendy had mentioned that there was a mistake by whoever did the valuation. That was a mistake. There was a small correction, but the mistakes are still, what I'm looking at, the numbers are incorrect still. If the percent go to 73, we pay more taxes than anybody else at Shadow Farm, based on our square footage, based on percent good, based on Zillow showing photographs of all the work that's been done. So we're going, you got proof. And
I went downstairs to pull all of the work I did on Shadow Farm. It was one of my first assignments as an assessor to tackle condos, and Shadow Farm was the top of the list. So I remember this like it was yesterday, and you've been nothing but hospitable and kind and educational, and I absolutely appreciate your character. You're very passionate about this. So I didn't just look at yours, and of course I couldn't go inside everyone's houses. It's not a full reval, but we drove around. I looked at every single unit, did arts and crafts. I had a map on, this was the last year that you appealed, and we did adjust that effective year built from 2012 to 2004, and there was an abatement. So that was a correction because you did let us into the house, and we were able to make that adjustment. So this is very similar to the issue at Brandywine with the permits. Remember how passionate Maureen was? Boy, if she meets Arthur, they could rule the world. And I don't want to make a joke about it because it is serious. And we all live in town, and we've all have our individual woes from this revaluation. I'm a renter. My rent went up hundreds and hundreds a month. We had a multifamily. We've had, everybody's in the same boat. So I hear your passion about it, and even though we might have a poker face. We went through the site plan, and the problem is exactly that. I color-coded it at the time, and I'm more than willing to do that again, but it's the same exact issue. The ball just moved forward, and so did everything else. So you've got market value based on sales, right? We use all the condos in town. There were 73 condo sales. There were 2 at Shadow Farms. Condos are popping. So that's a hot market, just like the cottages were. I have no control over the market. We respond to it. So when I got those numbers, I went, ugh, I don't necessarily like the things I see. They just are what they are. So that being said, the other issue is exactly what you're saying. It is problematic. I went and at the time, we went through all the Zillow listings. We printed all the photos. I mean, the research for Shadow Farm was extensive. I went out on the site and made sure we had the location with the view, I saw that, I was good with that. The issue is the outstanding building permits, if you see that in purple, versus what's actually not permitted and what we work through when we're doing our year-end roll. There's like 3 layers of happenings. So that being said, we're more than willing to do what we need to do. If you want more research, we did this last time. It's very similar. It's similar. People doing work without permits is problematic. We're not the all-seeing eye of government. When we get deeds in and we say sale and we cross-reference it, we'll be like, wait a minute, they got a finished basement. We don't. We work on those separate from appeals. And based on discovery. So we know that's happening. So when I responded to your appeal, I absolutely said that verbatim. that we're in that your appeal was denied because you're appropriate, but what about all the other guys? We are in the process of reviewing photos from Realtor.com and other sources and building permits for the condos that sold recently separate from your appeal. So just, I don't know if there's any other information you need from our office, but we realize that there's...
One question for your office in this case, because it's a condominium, but the individual units are all very different. We know that. Is the same base cost applied to each unit in the development, regardless of view of building type? So it's the same base cost?
Yes, and then adjustments will be factored in, similar to like Wayfield Meadows, right? Like the different
there
models
are-
and yes. Actually, let me go in and I'll tell you exactly if there is an adjustment. So his particular unit has an adjustment for the view. Now, I did notice that there's a floor adjustment saying, are you in the manor, the carriage, the barn, or the garden village? Any of those?
Neither of them.
Okay, so they've got you as like some other, so I'll look at those tables.
We're considered a cluster, which is like an elongated ranch.
Yes, so that was some of what is going on at Shadow Farm. There is a lot more going on. It collectively, it seems their condos, they should be dispersed, but you're right, there's different adjustments to
But all the
be had.
clusters are very close in it looks. I mean, but again, some of them have, they call them A and B, and ours was a B. A was considered, they're the ones on the average of the interior on that elongated ranch with an upstairs, a normal upstairs. And then with they call them, they're independent units, and they have, it's a combination of a B and A, the way it's designed, I don't know why, but it's upstairs are finished. So usually the end units have expanded upstairs, but they're an attic, where the other ones, the interior or the independent units, have a normal upstairs. And in my opinion, that has to be a more valuable commodity. Who wants to look, you're in the attic, you're going to have the warmer temperatures in the summertime. We have skylights, but and then this winter, the snow, you couldn't see much anyhow.
So in your, just back to your property, you would describe your second level as a finished attic?
Yes,
Or as a...
it's a finished attic.
Right, so I'm noticing, and I sense that Jennifer's noticing as well, maybe, that they're getting credit for half-story, whereas other units in the development look like they have a finished attic, which is a lower cost. So that might be something we could look at, or we could ask about.
Exactly. I mean, that's something that, I don't believe we went upstairs when we went to the
Yeah.
house.
No.
There were photos from Zillow we went based on.
Yeah, it gets, for us, it's tough. I mean, the condos, because you're in a development, you are very familiar. This happened to us in another development we heard earlier this session. Like, everyone knows what's going on in every unit, and they see it all, and they, who's got a finished basement, who pulled a permit, and who didn't pull a permit, and, you just picture them peeking out the window, like the blinds going up, watching everybody. So we get a lot of information about all of the individual units, and I think that's what, like, they have to try to reconcile that when they get this wave of new information that suggests that there's, I mean, every neighborhood in town has issues where some houses are newer, some houses are older, but in the condo developments is especially, like concentrated because this.
So you always know what your neighbor's doing.
Yeah, and I think because it's a condo development, they start from a similar baseline of construction, and then, so it's just, the discrepancies and the inequities are a little bit more noticeable. But usually it applies to other people. I mean, that's the same thing we're seeing here. It's like maybe there's a couple that are really nice that haven't been hit yet by the assessor, and that's their detective work with the help of homeowners like yourself to point out where they need to go looking. And it does, and I mean, the system tends to reward the scofflaws too. If you don't pull a permit for interior work, we see cases where they're not getting caught up in this, and then people that, other people do, so.
I don't usually try to get in the way. I value due process, but this doesn't hinder you due process, and it would tip a hat toward your favor. I did notice one thing today, because I did grab your old file from the basement. Now we're attaching documents, we're getting very techie here. But I went through it again, and it kind of refreshed the day that we had. And I've been in your unit, so now that I'm looking at some of the newer sale photos and all that, I'll make a suggestion, you can not take it. But the effective year built, we had reconciled it last appeal season from 2012 to 2004, and that gave you an adjustment to your value. I would suggest that the board move the effective year built to 2000 based on the condition, and that would take your assessment down from 9765 to 9277. I'm just going to walk away now.
The only question I would have, and thank you, I appreciate any savings on our end, but will you make adjustments then to the arguments I had with some of these units? You're gonna, like Unit 16.
Oh, I can't wait for a full reval. Is it 2030 yet?
Because in the meantime, we're gonna have to.
Yeah,
we're gonna
and just to
suffer?
keep it, and I hear your frustration. Again, we're all residents. I think I'm the only office where our entire staff lives in South Kingstown. I mean, we're in the same rowboat together. How do I explain? I'm trying to tread lightly. So the interiors only get done during the full reval. So just to keep things in perspective, right? Rhode Island, we're kind of in some way blessed to at least have a hit at statistical and sales. Connecticut does a full reval every 5. So you got to live with things a little bit longer. At least we're able to kind of get in the workshop like Santa Claus here and tinker a little leading up to the full. And it is every 9 years the full. Now, Massachusetts, they do a full reval every year. I can't even imagine how they can manage that. You'd have to have a staff of like 1,000 people. But within the parameters of what the tools that we have in our office and the laws that we have, I mean, I will work with, that's why we have an appeal season every year, right? Even on the off reval years. Obviously the reval years, that's the surprise, like what happened, and that's when the market tells you what's hot. And I don't think condos are going away anytime soon. So we'll just keep working with you. That's all that I can do, and that, that we can do with the permits. We don't know everything. When we know, we do, we are trying to get that reconciled, but it's extremely difficult outside of a full revaluation cycle. I just want you to be aware of that, but we understand the challenge. I wish we could do something different, but that's what we got.
But when we see it on Zillow, that's when I go like, I mean, there's proof. There's a foundation for what I'm saying. It's not like I'm.
27 minutes. You're the winner today. You're the winner.
Well,
I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt you, but this has been going on around 25 minutes. So I know. If there's anything else that you folks would like to bring up, if we could summarize it in a quick fashion, that would be appreciated.
I want to pay my fair share of taxes in relationship to everybody around me. And what's unique about condos, we do know each other's business. Yes, that's a sad fact. But at the same time, we have a foundation to make judgment on our piece of property versus someone else's. We're individual. We came from Connecticut. We had individual homes, and you really don't know what anybody else does. I mean, you don't really care. You worry about your own little place. But here, and especially with the taxes, and I would never have looked at this a couple years back, but we had to get new insurance policies, and they gave us a list of the evaluations for all the units. And I go, what the hell am I? We're number 2, now we're number 1. I complained, and now we're number 1. So it doesn't pay to complain, I guess, but thank you, Wendy, for making those adjustments. And I realize it's difficult. I mean, and you guys happen to listen to me and everybody else complain, I'm paying too much in taxes. And that's what we do, right? No one wants to pay anything. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, just one quick question. Ken just brought up, I mean, on your application here, or you didn't say what you think your place is worth, correct? You just left that line item blank. I mean, do you have an opinion as to what your value should be?
I'm representing what? They vary from 800,000, actually some are 7-something, into 976. if I'm gonna say anything, I'm gonna right in the middle of that, because in the net rate behind, based on some of the units that are selling, are evaluated for 800,000, 750. So,
So you'd use like something like a low 800 or 800 for a baseline versus 976, and then take the 50% between the two? So what, yeah.
that's where you were going with that.
Yeah. I'm just,
She said that in your lowering, you're working at the same time.
I am.
Lowering that remodel gate to 2,000. So
It's what we call an effective,
just making that
Yeah.
adjustment on that thing.
that's particular to the condition of the property or the structure itself. So I can speak to that because I have been there.
If high gates would be, listen, all these properties are escalating in value. I couldn't afford where I am right now if I bought today. But everything is really escalating here, and I feel badly for this area. And especially if someone has a house.
I know.
paying that tax. I understand that. We're senior citizens
Yeah.
now. We're not making the money we used to make. So, getting back to
Yeah.
the point.
If you have a number, you have a number. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to move on.
yeah. Okay. Thank
you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes all of our new business today. And then we have old business also. What is the board's pleasure here? How are we going to proceed at this point? Well, let's do this, let's do one thing here. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
We have a motion to close the public hearing for the new business today. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Public hearing is closed. Okay, what are we doing next?
The concern I see
people.
now is that we have, again, a snowball pile up
Yeah.
where we have old business to decide. We're going to have to continue all these decisions to the next meeting. Then we have a pile of people that we've continued to the next meeting in addition to people that are scheduled for the next meeting. So we have no time to decide,
My
no
su-
time to hear. I don't know what we're going
My
to do about this.
suggestion, I'll throw it out there, you don't have to take it. So there's no one else here, and you've closed your public comment, so that now you have control over the time. I would chip away as much decision-making as you can and leave that under old business. Continue hearing new business on the 25th, and then having one whole session of all old business. And I think that's the goal, whether we need to have one more meeting after that, but I think that pretty much would
So what are
wrap
you
it up.
saying? You're saying like, go to the appeal number 53 now and start talking about those?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my
Yeah,
preference.
clean up 53,
So,
88,
yeah, so
90,
We'll keep the
104.
next meeting on the agenda that has, it's going to be another
Take the
2
influx.
hours of
The
listening to
25th.
people. And
Yep.
then we're going to have another meeting where we're going to have like 18 cases. It'll be just for decision making.
You
Is
got
that what
it.
you're thinking? That's right. We did that, Ken. I think one of the ones that you missed was all decisions, and it was actually very,
Very
effective. And
fruitful.
because we could spend time with each one and make
You aren't getting
decisions.
interrupted, and you don't know if someone's going to speak for 5, 10, a half hour.
Yeah.
How can you manage
It's a
that?
tough one. The problem I have is I forget everything that, like I have to refresh my memory on each one, and it's like a tough mental exercise to go through.
I mean, it's a draft agenda for the 25th. We haven't sent out notices because I wanted to know what the board's pleasure was today, and whatever it is, we'll do that later on today or tomorrow morning. You could also just go ahead and on the 25th, finish up this agenda, and then those folks will go to April. I mean,
Right.
it's
So
up
the-
to you. Those are
the
your two
question
options.
so the next meeting that's the rest of them, right? There's
That's
no
it.
more other
Nope.
than the rest. Okay,
That's it.
so it might make sense just to hear what's left,
You can classify.
schedule a
whether
time to
you wanna
decide them all, and
classify.
then hopefully that kind of takes care of it.
And then that's your season, and then we can go to the beach.
All right, so is everybody, Kenny, you going to be here on the 25th? Yes. Okay. So everybody's going to be here. All right, so we're going to move on to the old business at this point, correct?
Okay.
That's everybody's good with that?
Everyone good? Okay, if,
Okay, and before we do that, it's 11:33. So I would like to be out of here by noontime today. I'd like to just set that as a goal, because we know we won't be out of here by 12.
Let's just try to decide as much as we can in the next half hour.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only available for one of the next ones, so I'm gonna be easy for you, Dave, because I'm not involved in 88, 90, or 104.
Okay, so at 53, if you want to leave after that, that's... Okay, all right.
speaking of Appeal 53, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a really hard time doing two things at the same time. I'm terrible at multitasking, terrible at it. I don't know why everyone says that's a skill. So appeal number 53, we always request when we send notice of hearing 72 hours. It's extremely difficult, as you can see, the paper pushing to get these together for y'all. And then there's always people that will still submit, and then it doesn't really give you, I haven't even looked at it, never mind giving it to you live right in front of them. So that being said, appeal number 53 at 1:54 a.m. this morning sent some paperwork. So whether you want to accept that or not is up to you. We normally would not accept that. I'll leave that for the board.
This is the same person that complained to us and to you and to me in the middle of a meeting that we were being unreasonable by the time that we're taking to decide this, and then sends us something that he wants us to look at the night before our meeting. I don't think that's reasonable.
And with all due respect, when I come in, I unplug my laptop and I giddy up here. I don't check my emails. I go right to board, so I wouldn't have even looked at that. He just kind of got lucky. One of my clerks checked.
I mean, we can't keep the hearing open for months. Like, we should be at decision-making, and all we're deferring is the decision. We're not,
I agree with you.
We're not keeping it open for more
I just wanted to throw that
information.
out there, so we'll just keep that right here.
I mean, do you want to just, I mean, do you guys want to just say, we're not going to hear this because there's new information, you have to reschedule and go back on the agenda and start all over again?
What I would like to do is, have you reviewed the information, and does it have any impact on you as the
How
town
could I have
assessor?
reviewed it? I got it at 1:54
Okay,
a.m.
so-
today, so
yeah.
the answer is
Okay.
no. I'm sorry, I got a little fresh.
So then it's no for us, so we're not going to have that information, and that can, this applicant can use that for the next evaluation. I would have a question, is that, again, it was at 1.5, round numbers, and you did an abatement of 155, so it's 1358, correct? Was that done previously or since?
That was done previous, that was my assessor decision.
Okay. And so
Before he
and
appealed
is
with y'all.
appealing the 1358, okay. I just want to make sure there was no adjustments that, from the last time we heard.
No, I mean, from, just to regroup on the history here, we don't normally do off-the-cuff site visits, but the deputy and I did meet the appellant out
I remember
there.
you had a video
And we
of
did do
that.
a video. I have all that if you want it. It's not the greatest video. It's really my word against his at this point.
And I went down there myself, and it was hard for me to tell exactly where the property bounds were, and there's a curve, and, you know, there is depressions.
I didn't see anything more I didn't know from the vehicle row view than when I got
Yeah,
out in, literally walked through the trees. So whether you have the appetite for that, that's up to you if you want to do that.
No possibility of a water.
I mean,
It was questionable to me, Alice. I don't want to speak for you.
I don't, at this point, feel like it's probably appropriate for me to speak on whether I saw that or not. We have it as what it is. The town says it's a water
Yeah,
view.
can we
So,
pop it up
yeah,
there, maybe?
I'll bring it up. All right, so I've got the parcel here, and I think it's probably best to see it on an Eagle View as well. Oops. You could almost see the slope here if I can give you the right, Yeah, so if you're standing, it depends on where you're I mean, but you can see it, you can cut trees down, you can see it, or if you built some type of structure, you probably could see that on the second floor.
And this is just a single buildable lot, correct? And if I remember, the applicant was talking about he doesn't want to build on it. So he would have the option of combining into the other lots or making it
He'd have to be vetted through the process. I can't speak for planning,
I'm just trying to remember.
but it's not a non-conforming lot or anything like that.
Okay. I was just trying to remember what he said and how he doesn't want to use it. He bought it for protection, but he could protect himself further by doing something else with the property.
Correct, and I looked at this extensively with the project revale manager because it was going to affect land sales. So we did look at the condition factor, and we brought that down from 3.9 to 3.5 to match the surrounding lots.
Did you change lot 12 as well to 3.5? Because that one, so the neighboring lot that's closer to the water is also 3.5, and I don't know if both of those were changed. Yeah, he purchased it essentially as buffer for his the improved home site on the water there.
My paperwork got all jumbled, so let me just go into my camera and answer that.
That's, yeah, I don't know if it's that relevant.
His house is in this one,
This is his house.
over here.
Because it comes down to condition factor, really, is the only thing that we could look at, in my opinion.
Point well taken.
So his home site is waterfront. It has a condition factor of 4. He owns the next 2 lots coming in, and they have a condition factor of 3.5. Each of them has a condition factor. So the one to the right of it is 3.5. The one that is the subject of the appeal is 3.5, and then the next one is 2.5. 2.5, as I understand, that's a neighbor's lot. And then the one that's on the interior that's a home, I have it here as 1.0, I believe. So it's kind of like we talked about the layer cake that effect here. What I could propose really is if his house is on a 4 and the next lot's 3.5, and as you move to the interior it goes to 2.5 and 1, we could just adjust the condition factor for this one to account that it's like a little bit further in the interior. There was some, topography issue. We could just move it to a 3.
I misspoke. Lot 12, we took from a 3.9 to 3.5.
Yeah.
The lot in question, lot 13, is at a 3.5. So
Right.
we matched those two.
Right. I mean, the case that could be made is that, given the position of this one that's slightly more interior, that abuts at 2.5, is we could make that one 3. So that it essentially goes from 4, 3.5, 3, 2.5, and then 1 as you move from the waterfront to the interior.
That's reasonable.
That would be kind of, like, I don't know where that lands us. I
can do a recalculation if you like. So for lot 13, just regroup on that. You want to go not a 3.5.
That's it's just, like, I don't think that, we could do 3.25, but it just seems like,
On
It
the
makes
entire
sense.
2.66 acres, you'd like to do that? Because a lot of the times that first main acre, you could keep at 3.5, and then the residual, so the acre, 1.66 acres.
I just think for the
It's up to
whole-
you.
the whole site.
Want to make sure. Okay.
3.
All right, give me
Looking
1
for,
minute.
I'm looking for a simple
So
solution.
right
of-
now, the assessment's 1.3587. So if we take the entire acres from a 3.5 to a 3, I love this new computer. All right, that brings it down to 1.1646, a difference of,
It's 200,000,
okay.
roughly.
This is where I'm going to start to fade. Thanks. Here's the calculator, Jen.
But it is
All right.
close to 200,000.
So 1.164600, $1,164,600. That's the entire parcel at a 3.0 for. So if we kept the first acre at 3.5, so that's your most valuable base. Where the house would go, there's value there, isn't there? By the way, we hate taxes. We have nothing to do with taxation. We do value. Okay.
Correct.
Wanted to say that before. I just couldn't help myself. So you can see why that main house acre is so valuable, because if I leave the main house acre at 3.5 and the residual acre and a half, more or less, at a 3.0, the assessments, make sure I did this right before I gave you the drum roll, is 1.349300. 1,349,300.
That's only going down $90,000.
Yeah, and this is, we get into this is a discussion we have every single day in the assessment office, every single day, multiple conversations, because a lot of people don't understand why someone has a half acre and they've got 5, and it's some, that the value is your main house acre. It's always going to be, and if you have a half an acre, it's going to be really valuable because that is the house acre.
Change it to 3.25 just for house.
Oh.
Correct,
For-
that's
for
what I was
Haas?
going to
Okay.
say.
On the,
So
on the
I mean, the
house.
point that he's making is this lot is inferior to the next one that has a 3.5. And I can understand the case that one is, so,
All right,
yeah,
if we do a
3.25.
3.25, I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of like split the difference, if you will. That is a main house acres 3.25, residual 3.0. That gives you 1.2569. Winner, chicken dinner.
so,
Wait a minute, the 3.25 is based on the entire property, or you taking that, what 3.5?
Just the first acre. The house acre is what we call it.
yeah, and then the residual is still at 3.0 in that calculation, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So at the end of the day, he started the reval cycle before me at a 3.9. I got him at a 3.5. I mean, that's.
Yeah,
This is a big number for the property, not being on the water, not having spectacular views. So I am fine giving some form of an abatement
Okay.
in addition to what you did. But it's still very subjective, and I don't know exactly what someone could do. So I am comfortable doing something, but the 3.0 sounds too heavy for me, but the 3.5 and the 9 doesn't,
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good consensus there, and it kind of acknowledges that it has similarities to the next lot over at 2.5, just in terms of where it's positioned in terms of the water, but it's closer. So I would make a motion if we feel like there's consensus. My motion would be to just adjust the condition factor to 3.25 for the building parcel, the buildable parcel, and 3.0 for the remainder.
What is the zoning? 1 acre, 2 acre?
So our 80 zone.
It's a R80 zone.
You can't split this lot.
No.
It doesn't have frontage.
Yeah.
And you got 2 acre zoning there, so.
2.66 acres, and we're basically, the assessment, the main, it's applied to the first acre, and that's not a zoning matter, that's a valuation now.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Ken seconds the motion. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, motion passes. Okay, we got one done. Ken, are you going to depart the sanctuary?
No longer needed, and it is acceptable, I will leave and see you all on the 25th. But are you sure we're not going to do any of the stuff we did today?
We've got 11 minutes left or
I mean,
something, so we'll probably,
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I will see you guys on the 25th.
okay.
That's fine, Ken. Thank you very much. See you on the 25th, and we're still going. I'm still shooting for 12 o'clock today,
That's why I'm
folks.
gonna shut up and leave.
Yeah.
Just one point of discussion, only because if we're going to make a date for a future meeting in April, maybe you want to be here?
Or do you have dates
Or do you have dates you can't make it?
Yeah, why don't we look
Need
at
to
that
throw
right
it-
now?
Okay.
I think that's a good conversation to have, and I don't even know, like,
I'm not
I don't know how much further we're going to get into the next
I'll
two
tell you right
anyway.
now, it's already, honestly, I'd be up for calling the meeting. I'd be up for not talking about any more of this stuff today. And let's just plan for the next meeting and let's just adjourn.
All right.
That's what I would like to do.
Can we do 104, please, 104?
You want to do 104?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Gosh, 92.
The 104, you look for Dave while they talk about it. I'm going to run to the bathroom. and-
Okay.
April, I do have some.
Okay. All right, you heard him.
All right.
104?
All right,
That was Mr. Hess. You
Oh, thank you.
What is it?
talked to the
Oh,
assessment
yes.
department, which he did. I just need you guys to officially close.
That's a great idea. Thank
Okay.
you. Clear that off the books.
Yes.
Um,
So, all right, so we're, under old business, we're talking about appeal number 104, and Jen just brought up some comments that, can you repeat those, please?
Sure. Mr. Hess met with us, and we went over his concerns, and that's what we did.
Sounds like, if I remember correctly, his concerns were basically were focused on other properties.
Correct.
So he had a concern about another specific property. We suggested he go talk to you.
Correct.
Share his concerns, and he has done that.
He has done that, and we have responded.
So in light of that, I guess if we need a formal decision, I would just make a motion to deny his appeal on the basis of lack of evidence.
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes on appeal number 104. Okay, so,
Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate you bringing
thank
that
you,
back
Jen.
around. We
Yeah,
don't
I-
want that one hanging on the books.
yeah, I know we were talking about
So
that the
while
other day.
Mr. Monroe is doing his thing, we're moving, I just want to regroup, all of the new business will now be moved into old business. The draft agenda for the 25th for new business stays, and we'll leave it at that, and then we'll come up with another date for the April meeting.
How many are on that? Do you know roughly?
15. Mr.
So
just
we
looked
have
that
other
up.
old business besides 88 and 90?
So there's 15 new businesses, new?
Well, we moved 3 off today. It's the domino effect.
Oh, so that
snowball.
includes what we've continued?
Yeah, so
Okay.
there were 3 from today that moved to the 25th, so there's
Okay.
15 new appellants left for new business, so you'll intake them on the 25th, and then April will set a old business, and, I'm sorry, we moved 3. Tomato, tomato.
Okay, so under old business, we've only got 2 left right now, 88 and 90.
I mean, if you
Well-
have an appetite to,
90 would be the easiest.
I mean, I obviously am going to suggest to try to knock one or both out.
wanna
as
try-
much as
do you guys
can.
wanna
But
try
That's
to,
up to
uh,
you.
Sure.
Alice, Brad, you up for, want to try to do?
Try one. You could try one.
Which
just-
one do you think? which
I
one?
think 90 you can get through quicker than 88.
I did drive by
Thank you.
property on 88.
Let's do this. Let's just try to, let's make a stab at 88, since Alice has already done some homework, so. We're under old business, we're continuing on, we're gonna look at appellant number 88. Who wants to start the conversation?
I did drive by, and there is no view. It is on a slope. If the house across the street were to cut down 4 or 5 very large pine trees, evergreen trees, there might be some view. But because the pine trees, for the current time, there is no view.
I'm just bringing it up on Eagle View and GIS.
Okay, just to refresh my memory here, so we have something that was previously assessed at 1.6, and now the new assessment's like at 3.1. So I think there's, definitely a,
Right, this one fell into it's another one of the custom
Yeah.
buckets that we're having. And I mean, it looks like a custom, I mean, this is a case where it's definitely a custom home.
I went out to that property with, along with my deputy, so we know it extensively. We both did an interior inspection, so any questions that you have, we've got permits, building plans, you name it, we got it. Just ask away. Oh, absolutely,
Sorry,
that's
Ken, we
under
didn't-
construction, the
we didn't talk about it
1.6. Percentage, give me a minute.
I mean, this is another one, this is where the attorney was presenting information. It's a case of they're basing it on disproportionate assessment compared to other properties that were assessed in the neighborhood. We've had a few cases like this, a few cases that were brought by the same attorney.
I'm not disputing, quite frankly, the cost of construction on this, because I know this house costs a lot of money, and it's probably close to what is assessed. However, based on what you just said, Brad, you know, compared to everything else, some of these other houses, I'm looking at some of these pictures, and I know they're worth, you know, at least this assessed value on this house or more. And precedent has been to make an adjustment, not so much on the cost per square foot of construction, but to be somewhat fair to everything else that we see that's coming up before us in comparison. So I feel we need to do something with this to lower it. How much, I don't know. So I'm just throwing that out there. You know, I guess maybe
It would be consistent with the other ones like this that we've looked at to offer an adjustment. And I think that the way we've done it with ones like this is we just kind of basically state a value that sounds reasonable. I don't want to, on this one, I don't want to change the classification because it should, you know, should be custom. And I think what we're doing here really, they had a big jump, and so we're kind of stabilizing the tax. That, like, you know, they had a big jump this year because of the custom issue. You know, they presented some evidence to us. We kind of stabilize it so that, you know, we moderate the significant increase relative to other properties in the neighborhood.
Well, when you're talking about significant increase, the previous one, was that with the new construction, or was it the old house?
Under construction, yeah.
Okay, it was not complete, okay.
Well, yeah, once again, I mean, what they asked for was a reduction back down to 1.5, which is in keeping with previous information on other properties presented by the attorney that I find it's absurd and not helpful to us.
I don't know, you know, I don't know how to come up with any. I mean, I'm thinking that if we lower this thing, I think I would be looking to do something like in the mid, like maybe between 2.5 and 2.7, just.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Is kind of where, you know, I would have this, I would feel comfortable coming up with a value. So how we do that, like I've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think
know,
that's
questioning.
like, these are just ballparks, but, you know, they noted an average assessment increase ratio of 143% among the other properties that they cited, and theirs was 180%, 88%. But as Alice noted, the property was under construction, so I think in this case, a modest adjustment along those lines would be supportable based on how we've looked at these things before. Now, these custom ones have given us a headache, this, you know, just generally, and this like applies to some of the ones we heard from today, because there's definitely cases where it's applied and it's hard to reconcile with other homes, you know. And in this case, it's clearly a custom, but, you know, yeah, it's tricky.
I don't know if it's helpful for building permit, new house plans drawn by Laura Krikorian, 1.6 estimated cost of labor. I got nothing else to go by here, other than what the attorney submitted.
That's who the architect was for this house. Yeah, okay.
Is the grade good plus 20, is that the highest?
No, it's an 8. which is a good plus 20. A 9 is very good, and a 10 is excellent. I think we have 3 or 4 excellents in town.
I was just looking where we could draw from.
I think that, like, we made 2 decisions in the last meeting where we didn't want to touch the assessor's, like, classification or rating. And I think
I
that
appreciate that because
that
it
gives
does
you a
become
fresh,
problematic.
yeah, like when these things, we can take a look at it at every reval, really. So we're kind of acknowledging the specifics of this reval without trying to like cascade forward, problems.
Overrides are much more easier to adjust
Right.
on or off, and I can always run separate reports on those and look at those through Discovery.
'cause
It becomes more helpful
Yeah,
that
I would
way
favor
than
an
tinkering
override like
with-
we did at the last meeting for this one. I mean, my issue is I'm an appraiser, so I can't, this is essentially to acknowledge the disproportionality of the increase, rather than to try to reconcile market value.
And
That's,
the market
you know,
will reconcile itself out for 2027 when we do the next statistical.
And that way,
So I
yeah,
think
we're
that's
not going to
fair and
hamstring the
reasonable.
assessor by tinkering with the, because this isn't really based on the rating or the classification it's really just based on us acknowledging what they presented and trying to offer some form of resolution. So this is where I like when David pulls out his calculator. Maybe it's 407.2. No, wrong. Is it Blackberry? This is it, yeah, 407.2, sorry.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the cost per square foot here. Like his calculation on the building cost is $641 a foot. You got 4,200 square feet. If you multiply it times 500, which I could swallow that as a cost per foot, it's probably more than that. I'm sure it is, but that's 2.1, and then we got the cost of the land, which is 407, so that puts us around 2.5, which I think that's probably still a little conservative, so I would probably raise my per square foot price up to maybe 525. So if I do that, 525 times 4,200 is 2.2. Is 2.205 plus 407, so you're up around 2.6. So I guess I would be based on what I'm stating, which isn't really totally it is somewhat of a scientific approach, but it's kind of shooting from the hip as well. I would make a motion that we lower the assessed value to 2.65 million based on what I just commented on.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Do we have any more discussion?
No, I just think that maybe just underline that this isn't, it's not really, the base isn't necessarily market value. We're just acknowledging what the homeowner brought to our attention in terms of proportionality in the neighborhood and the magnitude of the increase. So we're trying to moderate that.
I would agree, and I would state again for the record that, I'm being very fair and probably underestimating the cost per square foot for the construction of the house, but I'm doing that based on what Brad just stated for the record. Okay, so we have discussion. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. All right, so where are we now?
Appeal number 90, old business, one more. Awesome job.
Rolke, appeal number 90. Try to remember that one.
This was based on the condition of this is the road issue.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one now. Sorry, Ken.
Private road.
That's with pleasure.
When we we can do the next hearing. We can do
That
it
was the
at
one that had
Muse.
the private right-of-way, and that was maintained by the town, and then it became a private right-of-way, and they were complaining about the,
Yep. Yeah, the question here was the impact on value, and there's some sense that the homes that are impacted by this will see an impact on value, but I don't know if it was really demonstrated to us that this effect is actually happening, other than that folks in the neighborhood are having to pay, for gravel and things like that, I believe.
Was there wetlands on the lot also?
Also,
if I remember right?
yeah.
Or and I don't know, I think that was already documented, wasn't it, Brad?
I think when we looked at it, I'm going to try to pull up the card. I believe the topo and the wetlands have been adjusted for already in the,
Potentially, it would be more difficult to find a buyer on mortgages because there's no community agreement as far as the road.
I'm sorry, say that again, Alice. There's no community agreement to maintain the road, is that what you said?
Yes. So, and that, with a mortgage, that's usually what you need if it's a private road.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I would predict that the next time we have appeals, we're going to start hearing more and more appeals from folks that are impacted by this issue. So,
I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, if we should make an adjustment based on that. Reasoning
whatever
or
we
not.
do, it will kind of set a precedent for us going forward if we
Correct.
if we have another, I have some reluctance until somebody can come forward and say, this is hitting my, like the lack of financing is, like I would be good to see more of a market effect for this, and this is obviously an ongoing and evolving situation, so.
We may see more of it in the next year or two. I'm not to try to anticipate appeals, but sometimes we see trends in our office and they trickle down to you. And I would imagine over the winter that we had that you may see an uptick on these types of appeals for the next appeal season.
The only other thing I could think of is like so the land seems to be accounted for, like she got the wetlands are noted. And as I recall, she mentioned some aspects of the home was built in 1974. She referred to it as potentially a tear down because of the difficulty in upgrading the electrical, et cetera. The bathroom's original from 1974, or I guess it looks like 1975 actually is the year built. She says 1974, but we could make in light of that, we could make an adjustment to the effective year built depreciation to just acknowledge that the home is maybe not in the condition that and that way we can kind of steer clear of the road conversation for now, but maybe acknowledge the totality of what she brought forward about the lot, about the condition of the building, and about the impact on the roads.
I would be in agreement with an approach like that, Brad.
Yeah, built in 1975, it has the effective year built in 1987. Depreciation is only 37%. It would probably be good to get depreciation.
Fair or poor, like leaning on not great conditions.
Yeah.
If you were to go from 87 to 77 on the structure, which is basically going back to effective year built, gives you an adjustment from 949.1 to 907.6. And the only time that gets touched, other than this venue, would be if they do pull a permit and there is an upgrade. That's where, so
Right.
it's not going to change. Let's say it gets worse. I don't think you go lower than the year built, so that's really.
Yeah, exactly. So you're bringing it to a 3 from a 4, is that? Or,
No, the 4 stays. You could combine the two, bring that to a 1977 and bring that average 10. See, the thing with.
The grade is the more quality, right?
The grade is when it was built.
Yeah, let's
So
leave that.
I'm not saying, I'm not going to tell you or persuade you, but we wouldn't touch grade unless it was through discovery where it was not correct at the time of build and, within a few years outside of the build, which is why we haven't really touched any of the older grades because it's
Understood.
hard to prove that.
Yeah, so I mean, I like that. So that, like, my motion would be to bring the effective year built to 1977 in recognition of the the points that they made about their home condition. And wherever that lands, that's what I would like the new assessment to be. So my motion is to make that change.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Alice seconds it. Do we have any other discussion? I like the motion. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes.
All right, it does feel good to clear that up.
All right, so what's left is just setting the date for
Okay.
the April, get a little bit of ahead. So it sounds like the plan is on the 25th, everything that's new business now moved down to old business. That cleans up, you're kind of caught up, and then everything new business on the 25th. So we're looking at a meeting in April to, all of those will now be in old business, and just see how much you can tackle at that April meeting. So let's just set one meeting. I also have conflicts in April, so I'm glad that we all stayed.
Yeah, thank you, Ken, for sticking
I'm
around.
actually away March 30 to the 3rd, so I'm going to need a minute to come back from air and do all of that. I'd say the week of the 13th would be ideal.
Sure.
I'm good on the week of the 13th. We do Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen?
I can do Tuesday the 14th. Wednesday would be hard for me because I have a doctor's appointment in the morning.
I prefer it, yeah.
I'm good with the 14th. Okay.
April 14th, I can't do it.
How about the 15th or the 16th? Anybody?
15th.
You can't do the 15th, right, Brad?
Yeah, I got an eye doctor's appointment scheduled.
You don't want to redo that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't reschedule.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe the week of the 20th is better?
I prefer not a Thursday, but I mean, I'm flexible on the week of the 20th as well.
20th is tough. I mean, that's school break, so
All right.
I got my kids.
How about the 8th or the 9th?
I mean, if you folks want to do the 16th, I can do it.
No, I could do, I mean, the 7th or 8th or 9th, I mean, I could do that week as well.
If that's better, then we could try, definitely not the Monday, Tuesday, I'm gonna need a,
Couple days, yeah, understood.
You want to do Wednesday the 8th? Is that what that?
That gives me enough time.
No.
Wendy the 8th?
I'm fine
Windy,
with
Wednesday,
the 8th.
windy?
Yeah, if you want to do the April 8th, that's,
Just when you go away, Wendy, just bring some work with you, and you can.
Yeah, yep, Right on the roller coaster, whee.
Thanks for working with us on that. So,
All right, so April 8th at 9:30?
motion to adjourn the meeting.
So
We have
moved.
one.
Perfect.
We have a motion, second. I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting has been adjourned.
Thank you all.